Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful evening. Happy Easter. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic, wonderful, beautiful Easter and Chag Sameach and happy Passover. And thank you so very much for watching. Share this segment everywhere. When wonderful, beautiful, highly educated liberal Democrats, when they just can't fathom how Hunter and Joe and James profited, utilizing their name to either give access or give preferential treatment or the possibility of using their connections to help people who were going to give them money in business deals, well, all you have to do is read these articles. U.S. Banked. This is a CBS News article. U.S. banks deemed 150 transactions involving James or Hunter for further review, deemed them concerning enough to review them further. 150 business transactions or banking transactions. If you had one banking transaction that was deemed inappropriate by a bank, you very likely, almost certainly couldn't get a home loan or a reverse mortgage or whatever. They had 150 transactions, bank transactions deemed concerning. This is a CBS News article, April 7th, 2022. Okay. Then you have a New York Post article. So if the wonderful, wonderful liberal Democrat says, well, so what? 150 transactions. Well, you can't prove anything. Okay. Joe was involved in a deal with a Chinese giant and was expecting a 10% cut. New York Post, November 29, 2021. It's within the emails. Laptop that he left. So then they say, well, what's the big deal with the laptop emails? 10% held by H. Hunter for the big guy. The big guy meaning Joe. So Joe was expecting 10% of a deal. And you have another email stating that I talked about yesterday in the segment prior to this one, where Joe is speaking to a family member saying, well, he gave half of his salary for years and years and decades to his father being Joe. So you have half of his salary, okay? And then you have Joe Biden expected 10% cut. November 29th, 2021, New York Post, okay? Now, if that's not enough, we have a lot more. So you have a 10% cut in a deal that he's expecting. Okay? You have a 10% cut in a deal. Then you have the Daily Mail. Hunter complained that half his salary went to the vice president. This is a Daily Mail article in July 5th, 2021. This is what I talked about last night. Hunter complained that half of his salary went to paying his father's bills while he was vice president. It's within his own writing. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, meaning Joe, not Corn Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. So that's a Daily Mail article from July 5th, 2021. Hunter paid Joe's AT&T bill and spent thousands on house repairs but new laptop claims, but that's nothing. The real issue is Hunter complained in a text in 2019 that half his salary went on paying his father's bills. Okay, that's a Daily Mail article. It's a New York Post article that broke that story as well. Now, there's a New York Post article talking about the 10%. Then and why am I doing this? Because you have all of the information pointing to massive corruption. Then you have a National Review article. You might say, well, what kind of format are you using? And by the way, hit subscribe to this channel. We're almost at 196. We're like right there, almost at 200,000 subs. I will have my first segment on the satirical channel. I'll probably read a wonderful columnist, Jennifer Rubin, or Max Boot. Fantastic columnists. Wonderful columnists. I'll read them. I'll read anyone on the channel below, the Indicted in Prison 45 channel. It's pure satire and comedy. Anyone that pushes the notion that Trump should be charged or arrested or committed crimes and needs to be indicted. So it's pure satire. Of course, I don't believe that, but I'll read articles from that vantage point, and it'll be hilarious. Okay, they don't have anything on Trump. They never did. I've explained that millions of times on this channel. What they do is projection. They engage in the corruption, the illegal activity, the criminal activity, and then they project and say, "Oh my God, Trump is worse." He's not by a long shot. Not at all. But anyway, that initial segment, first segment, and that channel will be today, right after this segment. So please go ahead, hit subscribe to this channel and to Indicted in Prison 45 channel. Also, the stock market crash channel is below. I'll do a segment on that today as well. Read my Federalist article predicting the stock market crash below in the pinned comment. And everything we're experiencing right now, the recession. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. I will start opening up a new platform aside from Patreon also. But ladies and gentlemen, definitely share this segment. It's very important because they'll say, well, you're making things up. No, this is public record. The public record's very important. You need the articles. So, I mean, they're not all going to be below because it would take up the entire description section. So I do think there's going to be, I know, well, we're seeing it now, a devastating stock market crash eventually. I'm predicting that, but we're seeing an economic collapse that I've been talking about for a long time. So some of the information on that will be below in the description, and then a whole bunch of articles pertaining to what I'm saying will be below as well. National Review, very important to link everything you say to a reputable article. Treasury Department sanctioned Chinese surveillance firm tied to Hunter. Okay, not a word from the left. Not a word from the left for human rights violations. Not a word from the left. Okay? Then you have Hunter was paid $83,333 monthly by a gas company in a country being invaded under his father's tenure. Worst geopolitical nightmare in recent European history. All right. Do you think maybe there's a correlation? If anything, does it... Let's say that people say, oh, there's no correlation at all. Well, then, why did he force out a prosecutor in a sovereign country? Because even the people who were protesting that, stating, hey, you can't do that. Well, Joe said, of course I can. Go ask President Obama. You can watch the tape again where he literally brags about strong-arming and leveraging and giving an ultimatum to a sovereign country that's now being invaded under his watch. So why did he brag about it, and why did he state that we'll go call President Obama? I don't know of anyone from President Obama to anyone in the State Department at that time, to Kerry. Nobody said that a prosecutor should be forced out. Then you get, it's official policy. It was never official policy. Where is the proof that it was official policy, other than, well, people say this is that's what should have happened. Anyway, that's not what you do. You don't just say you're not going to get $1 billion last second. And then the officials in that country said, you don't have that right. He even admits that. And then they impeach Trump, even though the president of the country being invaded now stated that Trump never pressured him, never strong-armed him, never did anything like that. But there's another example of using your influence on behalf of the company, which we'll get to in a second. Then you have fresh proof of Hunter's work was always about selling influence over Joe. Editorial, September 26, 2021. And that points to an insider article. New emails, and the Daily Mail talked about new emails from Hunter. Business associates reveal he asked for $2 million retainer plus success fees to help them unfreeze $30 billion in Libyan assets while his father was VP. Okay. That's a Daily Mail article, September 24, 2021. Okay, so you look, ladies and gentlemen, you look, and there's another article, there's another email stating something very important, which was very, 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 emails reveal, this is one of the most important, I probably should have started with this, the New York Post article from October 14, 2020. And it states right there, number 3 executive at that oil and gas company in a country now being invaded during Biden's tenure, for advice, asking Hunter for advice on how you could use your influence on the company's behalf. Advice on how you can use your influence on the company's behalf. Okay. Then you get, that points right back to, that points right back to when they were trying to get millions to unfreeze 30 billion of Libyan money. You have one of his associates emailing other people explaining how great it is to do business with Hunter. Quote, since he travels with Dad, is connected everywhere in Europe and Asia, where, the former leader and his investment authority had money frozen. This is the Libyan leader, former Libyan leader. That had a terrible fate, but he also did a lot of bad things. This person writes, adding that Hunter has always said he has high-level access in China and that he can help there. These are emails showing that they're selling access, connections, relationships, at best, at worst, at best, the allure or the notion or the promise of one day being treated favorably exists for people who do business with any Biden or any Clinton, because the investigative agencies of our country side with Democrats or anyone who plays ball. It's only when the corruption is so bad that they start a Clinton email probe and they say, gosh, she didn't mean to do it, but we had the probe. We had the probe. When you do business, another thing when they say, well, what's the point? What's just the big deal? Fox News makes such a big deal of it. It's like, well, MSNBC and CNN make a big deal over nothing. They'll take things that are like former current U.S. officials think, and this historian thinks, and this person thinks, and they'll base their assumptions and opinions and conjecture on a Steele dossier purchased by Trump's direct political rivals that the Durham Pro Special Counsel is finding out about now. Well, we already knew, but indicting 3 people and a whole lot more. The whole thing was fabricated. Trump never was installed by the Kremlin. Ever, 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 ever. You'd have to be a complete imbecile to believe this. But these are actual emails written by Hunter, talking about James and Joe, talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in business, talking about their relationships and connections and promises to people and questions or demands or requests from the people they work with to use their influence, and Joe getting 10%, or Hunter paying half his salary, or 150 bank transactions, and you're looking at people just still incredulous. Oh, well, well, what's the problem? I just read to you, about 10 articles. That's just, and I had to do it this way because I had to kind of show everybody that the evidence is there within published record. The emails are there within reputable sources. Daily Mail, New York Post, National Review. They might not be CNN or MSNBC, but they're a lot more accurate. And yes, they will cover this story. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Happy Easter, everybody. go to the pinned comment. I'll have a satirical segment right now on that channel. Thank you so very much. Go to the pinned comment, hit subscribe to that channel.